Modern neuroscience tells us that instead of writing down things we're thankful for in a journal, simply listening to and connecting with positive stories about people can better help shift our immune system into balance. It can help us move from a state of constant anxiety towards motivation. So 3 days a week, I'm sharing stories we can feel good about. Mondays, you'll hear a story from the past to be thankful for. On Wednesdays, I'll tell an inspiring story from the present. And Fridays, you'll head into the weekend with a story to keep you optimistic about our future. Hi, I'm Chris. Welcome to My Good 3. Alright, happy Wednesday. So, as I wrote the outline to this episode, I was sitting in a waiting room. My wife was undergoing a minor medical procedure, so she was under anesthesia and needed a ride home. I had just left an event at my kid's school. I scrambled across town and was way behind on what I needed to do. So I sat down in the waiting room in a chair designed to comfortably seat a cinder block, only to have a mouth breather sit down right next to me. Inhaling, exhaling, arm drifting onto my chair's armrest, inhaling, exhaling. I mean, really? I looked at my watch. I had 47 minutes to write before getting my wife into the car and driving back across town to get the kids from school, or we'd be charged $40 for aftercare. I chewed my gum faster and faster, trying to take my mind off the dying fish out of water sitting next to me. It's so easy to let frustrations pile up quickly when we're stressed. As I sat uncomfortably in the waiting room, feeling picked on by life, all it took was reading about Colette from Massachusetts to make that feeling fade away. This is a story about perspective. After Colette DeVito graduated from Clemson University, she moved back home to Boston to live closer to her family and get her career started. While Colette was born with the genetic disorder Down syndrome, she had never let it slow her down, so she immediately set out on her job search, aiming to make a difference in the Boston community. One rejection followed the next, with employers repeatedly saying she wasn't a fit. And while she could secure volunteer positions, they never led to her being hired full-time. This continued for 3 years. Colette isn't someone to complain about life not being fair, so as she interviewed and took rejections in stride, she started a little side project. Back when she was in high school, she learned to bake, and she was always drawn to baking cookies, specifically her signature cinnamon chocolate chip, which she called the Amazing Cookie. She made several batches and shared them with people and got such good feedback, she and her mom, Rosemary, who was an entrepreneur herself and who came from a family of entrepreneurs, decided to get them into a local store. The Golden Goose Market was impressed and quickly ordered 100 packages. Before Colette and Rosemary knew it, they were working out of a commercial kitchen, running a business. As news spread, they were interviewed by WBZ News, and then that story was picked up nationally, and suddenly, after 1 week, they had 4,000 orders to fulfill. A great problem to have. In just a few short weeks, Colette had gone from a disappointed job seeker to a budding entrepreneur who needed to wake up at 4 a.m. just to stay ahead of the growth. The business expanded with a loan from a bank, and they were on their way to getting the cookies into regional stores. After that first year in business, Colette was named New Englander of the Year. And while this is all very impressive, it's not even the part that gets me most about this story. As Colette found success with her cookie business, she didn't forget what it felt like to be neurodivergent and looking for a job, only to have employers look past her because of her disability. With only around 20% of people with disabilities employed in the United States, Colette was determined to help. So with each hire, she made sure she interviewed people with disabilities, and if they were a fit, they were given an opportunity to prove themselves. In order to make sure everyone had a fair shot, Colette trained all new employees with disabilities one-on-one. Before long, Collette's Cookies employed dozens of disabled employees, and she was coaching other companies on hiring employees with disabilities and coaching disabled entrepreneurs. As it stands, Collette's Cookies can be found in grocery stores as well as TJ Maxx and Marshall's stores in 11 states from California to Boston. The company has generated millions in revenue and is making a profit, with plans to continue to expand to every state in the country and continue to help solve employment challenges for people with disabilities. By the time I had read about Collettey's cookies, it was time for me to leave the waiting room and assist my wife as she recovered from her procedure. I had forgotten about the mouth breather next to me, the uncomfortable chair, and the time constraints and deadlines that had been derailing me earlier. Colette's story provided perspective, a reminder that life is unfair and harsh. Frustrations and challenges are everywhere. But what are you going to do? The inspiring ones make it work, regardless of the challenges, without wasting their time complaining. And like Colette, as they succeed, they make a point to correct injustices they deal with. So life is better for people just like them. By the way, if you want to try some of the cookies, go to collettys.com, COLLETTYS.com. You can order direct, or you can see where they're in a retail store near you. Thank you for listening. I realize this podcast won't be successful without your help. So if you'd like to rate it, or better yet, review it, wherever you get your podcasts, that would really help. And if you're on Instagram, go to @mygood3, THREE, to vote each episode up or down. I'm also excited to read more Good 3 stories from listeners, so just go to our website, mygood3.com, and submit a story of your own from the past, present, or future, or all three, and maybe I'll use it in an episode. Thanks again. Here's to hoping My Good 3 can set the stage for your good week.